marriage ceremony. The man's tilma was tied to the woman's blouse, is a symbol of them joining their lives by placing her image on Juan Diego's tilma. The Virgin of Guadalupe decorates or dignifies all of humanity. She also performs a spiritual marriage with man and serves as our protector. Recall the words she spoke to Juan Diego and through him to all of us. Am I not here who am your mother? The miracle or unbelievable occurrence is that this image seemed to speak in all languages. To look at the image, it was to understand completely what the message was. Now, up to at that time, the Spaniards understood by looking at the image. And the indigenous people understood by looking at the images. And there are just so many factors involved why they understood by looking at the image. Everything. I mean, it's incredible. It's too many things to explain to you. But just a few points. She has a black ribbon around her waist, which means that she's pregnant. Middle Eastern custom also. But amongst the Aztec, that was the custom. Her hair is down, indicating that she's a virgin. The Aztecs understood this. Her mantle, her cloak, is blue with stars. And all of these stars have a place. They're all not in any order. They are organized, and astrophysicists have been able to map those stars and then calculate the constellations to determine if there was a time and a place in an hour. And they were able to do that, and it was December 12th, 1531 at 10:20 a.m. Her eyes, by looking at the material, the cloth made from the cactus, and while the scientists research, they came about that they think that they saw something in her eyes, but they were not the people to do that. They were trying to date the material and find out the colors that were used and what it came from and all of that. So then special scientists that dealt with new technology from NASA that looks at objects from space down and can bring those objects into focus and determine what they are, was used to look at her pupils. And they find that there are 13 persons there. It's like a photograph taken by Our Lady as she observed Juan Diego opening his tilma and the people around, including the bishop, a translator, and other people that were there. And the picture of the bishop that was the portrait that was painted of the bishop coincides with what you see in her eye. And none of the scientists have been able to figure out if she was looking at them or if she was in back of them or when those images in her eyes took place. But it's a photograph of the scene. So the latest developments, I mean, when I mentioned about this image speaks to all, right? And we can, any person of any language, of any country, the indigenous at that time, but it also speaks to historians, to scientists, because scientists reveal other things, so the image is speaking to them as they identify all the wonders that are included in this image. I think the most startling of the results of this image, the experience, is that all the indigenous people, 6 million, were converted. 6 million with this image. And during the year of 1531, the bishop was preparing a notice to go back to Spain, saying, "Don't send me any more missionaries. Our efforts are not successful. It's a useless cause." There were, for the amount of people, the population, there was just a few conversions. Fortunately, among them was Juan Diego. But that was the result. I've gone way over my time. Okay, I want to do one more thing. I think it's very important. And I apologize for the overtime. Our Supreme Knight, Carl Anderson, says, "We have been called to be heralds of the message of love that Our Lady of Guadalupe brought here nearly 500 years ago. Because the message of Our Lady is so important for our future, the order, the Knights of Columbus, was dedicated to Our Lady of Guadalupe when I was installed as Supreme Knight in the year 2000 in the Basilica of Mexico City." And one more thing. In the first degree, remember Mary and her knights. Mary and her knights. Mary and her